They say real emotions can't be hidden. Not by fame. Not by cameras. Not even by someone who has mastered the art of pretending on screen. And that's exactly what happened the night Dylan Wang saw Shen Yue cry. One moment. One look. And every wall he built around his feelings came crashing down. The world wasn't supposed to see it. But the camera caught everything. And the truth? It was impossible to deny. It began on a night that was supposed to be ordinary. A promotional event, bright stage lights, the usual smiles. The kind of routine both of them knew too well. But something about Shen Yue felt different that evening. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. Her laughter was soft but strained. Like she was trying to convince the world she was fine when she wasn't. Dylan noticed it instantly. Not because he was observant, but because when you care about someone deeply, you feel their pain before they ever say a word. Still, he didn't push. He never did. Their bond had always been built on silent understanding, on the small gestures no one else paid attention to. But that night, their silence was about to be broken. It happened backstage, a moment away from the flashing cameras, where most celebrities regained their composure, before stepping back into the spotlight. But Shen Yue didn't get that chance. Something, a comment, a memory, a pressure she'd carried too long, finally cracked the surface. And the tears she had been holding back fell before she could stop them. Not loud, not dramatic, just quiet, fragile tears, from a woman who had been strong for too long. What she didn't realize was that Dylan saw. To everyone else, he was still on stage, laughing, talking, being the Dylan Wang the world adored, confident, playful, composed. But the moment she walked away, something in him shifted. He felt it, a pull, a signal, a heaviness that didn't belong to him, but weighed on him all the same. And when he caught a glimpse of her hurried footsteps, he knew something was wrong. He didn't hesitate, not even for a second. The staff tried to guide him back to his schedule, reminding him of the interview he was supposed to attend next, the commitments, the cameras waiting outside. But he didn't hear any of it. Or maybe he did, and chose to ignore it, because in that moment, nothing mattered more than her. He slipped past them, firm yet quiet, his eyes searching for her, with attention no fan had ever seen on his face before. Attention born not from stress, but from fear. Fear of what she was feeling. Fear of not getting to her in time. And then, he found her. She was standing near a dimly lit corner backstage, her hands covering her face, as she tried to stop the trembling in her breath. To anyone else, it might have looked like exhaustion, but Dylan recognized it instantly. It was heartbreak, a pain she had been carrying alone. And for a split second, he froze, not because he didn't know what to do, but because seeing her like that cut deeper than anything he'd ever felt before. His expression shifted. The mask slipped, and the real Dylan, the one who cared too much, felt too deeply, loved too quietly, came through. He approached her slowly, not wanting to startle her. And though there were staff nearby, their conversation, or rather their silence, was more intimate than anything words could express. He stood close enough for her to feel his presence, close enough to let her know she wasn't alone. And when she finally looked up, he saw her tears, not just on her cheeks, but in her eyes that held exhaustion, fear, frustration, and a vulnerability she rarely showed anyone. That was the moment the camera caught him, the exact moment his expression changed. It wasn't anger. It wasn't panic. It was something else. Protectiveness. Raw. Unfiltered. Undeniable. The clip lasted only 3 seconds. Just 3 seconds. But it was enough. The world saw the truth he had been trying to hide for years. Because in those 3 seconds, his eyes said everything. His heart had been too afraid to admit. He wasn't just concerned. He wasn't just being a co-star. He wasn't just being a friend. He was in love. Deeply. Irrevocably. Silently. And no amount of acting could disguise it. But the world didn't know the full story. They didn't know what happened afterward. Away from the cameras, in the quiet corridor where no eyes were watching, Shen Yue tried to apologize, tried to laugh it off, tried to pretend she wasn't falling apart. But Dylan saw through all of it. He always did. He didn't ask what was wrong. He didn't need to. He didn't try to fix everything. That wasn't what she needed. What he did was simple, yet profound. He stayed. Not as an actor. Not as a colleague. Not as a public figure. He stayed as the man who couldn't bear to see her cry. For minutes, they stood there in silence. A silence that spoke louder than any comforting words could. And for the first time in a long time, she allowed herself to feel safe. Safe enough to let someone else carry the weight she'd been struggling to hold alone. Dylan didn't flinch. He didn't look impatient. He didn't look bothered. He looked present. Fully. Completely. Devotedly. And perhaps that was when everything changed. Not for the fans. Not for the media. But for them. When she finally regained her composure. He didn't ask for a smile. He didn't ask her to get back to work. He didn't expect her to act okay. Instead, he did something no one expected. He told the manager to reschedule his remaining interviews. A rare move. Almost unheard of. The team protested at first. But one look at Dylan's expression was enough to silence them. Because for the first time, he wasn't thinking about his image, or the event, or the cameras, or the consequences. He was thinking about her. And nothing else. After the event, while the world analyzed the clip 1,000 times, trying to decode the meaning behind his expression, the truth was simple. He drove her home. Not because he had to. Not because anyone asked him to. But because he wanted to be the last person. To make sure she was okay. The ride was quiet. Soft. Gentle. Filled with the kind of silence that only exists between two people who share something deeper than friendship. Something unspoken. Something undeniable. That night, even after she stepped out of the car, she turned back. Just once. As if checking whether he was still there. And he was. Watching over her. Waiting until her door closed. Ensuring she felt safe. Even in those last seconds before the night swallowed her home in darkness. It was a small gesture. But for them, it was everything. A promise without words. A confession without admission. A love without labels. Yet stronger than anything spoken aloud. The next morning, the internet was in chaos. Fans slowed the clip down frame by frame. Some insisted it was worry. Others said it was affection. But most saw what he could no longer hide. Love. Real. Raw. Unfiltered love. The kind that slips through even when you try to keep it silent. The kind that exposes itself. In the moment someone you care about begins to break. Dylan never addressed the moment publicly. He didn't deny it. He didn't explain it. He didn't brush it off. But Shen Yue did something subtle weeks later. Something small, but meaningful. She posted a picture of the sky. Warm, gentle, soft hues. And captioned it. Some people calm storms just by being there. Fans knew. He knew. And she knew that the storm she survived had everything to do with the man who refused to let her weather it alone. Love isn't always loud. It isn't always confessed dramatically.